Hello, my name is Andrew Mead. I'm an Assistant Dean for Student Growth and Engagement at Vassar College, and I'm also one of the co-founders of the Vassar Haiti Project. Welcome, and thank you so much for tuning in with us today. Haitian art has been said to reflect the hopes and dreams of a people, which shine so much brighter and soar so much higher than the words often used to describe Haiti in the media. We hope this video will provide you with a little glimpse into this extraordinary world of Haitian art, but also through it into the heart of Haiti itself. You'll have the chance to meet the owners of two important Haitian galleries. You'll also get a chance to meet a talented artist that we sponsor, who has a great vision for empowering Haitian artists in the area that he lives. The first interview will be with Gael Monnin, who runs the Galerie Monnin in Pétionville, outside of the capital of Port-au-Prince in Haiti. We have worked with Gael and the Monnin family for the entirety of our existence. And the ability of our organization to raise funds and the narrative of Haiti through its art is thanks in no small part to their ongoing, hugely appreciated partnership with us. Enjoy!
We are here at Galerie Monnin, a beautiful place, and this lovely lady next to me, who's tall enough to be standing next to me, is one of the owner of Galerie Monnin. Well, listen, those of you out there, the diaspora, looking all around the world, Galerie Monnin is a place to visit. Let's introduce yourself and the gallery itself.
Thank you. My name is Gael Monnin. I'm third generation of the Galerie Monnin tradition. We opened first in 1956 in La Grande Rue, Boulevard Jean-Jacques Dessalines. Then we moved up to Pétionville, and now we keep on going up the mountain. And we're up in La Boule 17, which was, for me, this I think is my favorite spot here, because this used to be my grandparents' home. And then eventually we lived in there. They've passed, and now it was an opportunity. The house is free to turn it into a gallery, so we're very excited to invite people to come visit us here in La Boule.
Well, it's a great view. I mean, I was coming up here and then I realized, the house is a gallery, like you said. Now, you have different artists. How do you get the artists to their artwork?
So we've been around for a long time.
Okay.
So our reputation precedes us. And so we've had, I would say, really at the heydays of tourism and where Haiti was sort of, in the 80s, avec un pouvoir d'achat, how do you say, a buying power that was quite with the sophisticated tourism. We did very well. We even had a shop at the Club Med. So there was a real relationship at the time. That was my parents were taking care. My dad had the real role of with an exchange with the artist, like a real curator, with the dialogue between the artists. And my mom was the perfect, saleswoman, Jewish saleswoman. So it was the perfect couple. So we had at that time really artists exclusive to the gallery, that we even call a bit the studio of the Galerie Monnin. And then eventually times change, things change. Exactly, a new era. My sister, who's an artist, there's some of her sculptures here. You've seen some sort of artworks inside. It was natural for her. She started befriending, all the more contemporary artists, and that's how they got introduced to the gallery. So that's why, like, if you see upstairs, I think we have about a variety of about 50 different artists. Even more, from the private collection to artists still producing today. So you can come here to the gallery and you can find something for literally $10.
Oh, really?
All the way up to, 10,000.
Of course.
The styles are very different, because I also collect arts in New York. And what I've noticed is that the Haitian artists in New York are somehow, do you see that, Valeria? The artwork that I see here varies. So what would you call their style?
So there's different, here that's the reality, which sometimes is a tough one to accept, is there's no really, there's not a lot of support in the community, the art community. So even the art school here There's one at least, but it's not really. Sometimes they don't even have materials. They don't even. So basically, artists in general have tendency to either have the opportunity to work with an artist who's already established, so they have a tendency of imitating what they do at first, or then you have those that have access maybe to a few books or something, so that's their schooling. For example, one of the artists that I show here, he was our framer. He was our framer for 50 years, so that was his school, framing the art. And then one day he just like said, "Oh, here, look what I do." I was like, "Wow, that's amazing!"
Wow.
So yeah, so now we. So this is, and then now more the contemporary artists.
Okay.
You have different. It's basically kind of linked to the education level that they've received, the opportunities that they get.
Right.
So way back when art started, probably in the late 20s, 30s, like that, and then the Centre d'Art in the 40s and the 50s. So they in general were the pioneers. They were literally the first ones to sort of put what they felt on canvas. So you have the Saint-Soleil, which is they were communicating with communicating with the spirit world.
That's right.
And then
You have those out here? You have those some pieces?
So there was like Louisiane Saint-Florent. She was one of the first woman painter actually. But in general, they're deceased. Now you have second generation, third generation of
You have some Marie Benjamin, and what other names you have?
contemporary artists, very contemporary artists. We have Simil, that in general, Jean-Louis Senatus was part of the gallery. Then we have Carlo Jean-Jacques, Manès Descollines. We we don't really have the early periods one, like, Hector Hippolyte and the guys from Cape Haitian. But now we started really collecting from the time that we had the studio at the gallery. So, and then of course now more the contemporary artists, Sébastien Jean, Kili, Pasco, and then there's few emerging ones. There's some younger ones that are doing a good job.
I have another question now. If an artist is actually watching us doing this interview, and they're not really from here, they're in the diaspora, and they'd like to connect with you, how do they connect with you in terms of perhaps sell you their artwork or just displaying it here? I'm sure they're probably going to say, "Oh, wow, this is great. How do we get
An opportunity here, Gael Monnin.
Yes, exactly. So,
the
best way to communicate is info@galeriemonnin.com.
Okay.
That's the best way, by email. For artists in general, we know, again, as you see, our collection is quite prominent, so we're not really searching for anything, but we always, of course, are curious, and if we receive an email with a lot of images, we'll definitely take our time to answer, to give a critique, or, to see what's...
Yeah, because I do know there's a lot that's probably going to say, "Oh, wow, this is great," Yeah.
Let's take a look inside. We're going inside now. We're looking at it's a house. It's a home, actually.
Yes.
We're looking at the stairs going up there, and wow, let's give us an idea of this
a
place.
little tour?
Yeah, no, we're looking at visuals now. Now, give us an idea of this house being a house, a home, and now being turning into a gallery. Your grandparents' home. Amazing story, right?
So if one day someone tells me that I'm doing a good job as good as my grandmother, that will be the best compliment ever, because she was really a housewife, and we had animals in the yard, and the inside was impeccable with antiques and stuff like that. So that changed, artists lived in the property, and so, but now it was an opportunity, because it's the first time that no one was living in the house, and I wanted to kind of be able to share this property with outside people. That's why I was motivated to open the gallery. Soon we're going to have a cafe open where you'll be able to have fresh juices. My idea is to give a little bit of peace of mind, because
So peaceful already.
Exactly, as we know, and it can be a little bit, chaotic out in the streets.
Is it
when you
very
come in here,
accessible to tourists? Like if somebody come in and they really want to come and visit, is it accessible? Or?
Yeah. I mean, we just opened a few months ago.
That's great.
It's word of mouth for now. Once I'm ready with the cafe, I'll do a big launch.
Great.
But I mean, yes, because people come up the mountain to go see the view at l'Observatoire,
So there's a must stop here.
So now it's becoming a must stop. And on the weekends, that's where we have more people when they go up to the mountains.
Which is great. So with ATH, Association Touristique d'Haïti, partnering with Galerie Monet, I'm sure the diaspora, those of you watching all around the world, in New York, you know Téléimage, if Barbara can come here. Exactly.
Now, visit Haiti first and then come to the gallery.
Here we go.
It's a must. Come here.
That's right. I was going to say, if Barbara is here, I mean, you love art. So you
the galleries. I just love artwork. So this was a must for me.
And I'm hoping that, for example, for next season, for next jazz festival, to have some events here.
That would be great. You have the space for it.
Exactly.
Yes.
Hi, my name's Isla Froning, and I'm a former co-president of the Vassar Haiti Project. I hope you enjoyed that little snippet about the Monet Gallery. Next, we have an interview with one of our favorite artists, Benoit. Lori Senecal, who's on this year's exec board, was kind enough to conduct the interview in Haitian Creole. I hope you enjoy.
I'm Lori. I'm a rising sophomore at Vassar College, and I'm Haitian American, like Lila said. This year I'm the VHP paintings manager. I'm very excited to be here. Very excited to interview one of our most popular artists in VHP, Benoit Profélus. So very excited to be here.
Moi sali tout avant. D'accord.
Okay.
Et moi senti content et je dis pour la première fois et pour moi incapable.
So he says his name is Benoit, and he's very happy to be here with us today. And he's very happy that he can have this conversation with us tonight. And he's also very excited to be speaking with Vassar students once again. Kounya na commencé mando nous gagne peu question na mando pour interview.
OK.
Première question c'est à quel âge tu as commencé à faire peinture? Donc comment tu fait
définir un artiste.
Okay. Oui.
OK. Moi j'ai commencé à l'âge de presque moi j'étais capable de dire 7 ans.
So he said he really started painting at age 7. His dad was a carpenter he had like gone to his shop with him and like seen what his dad was doing as a child. And while he was wiping wood one day, while he was helping his dad around his shop, he actually hurt his hand, and his dad told him to go look for something else to do because the whole family can't be a family of carpenters. So his dad told him to look for a different hobby or a different field. And one day while he was at school, he had a teacher who used to help him with drawings, and that's when he started to take an interest to it more and more. And almost every day after school, he would go with his teacher or back home, and he would just be practicing his drawings, and that's how he really started with his paintings. All right, so the first question I asked was, what is his motivation to continue this career? And he said that
Motivation pas man dans peinture haïtienne, c'est parce que moi senti que
he feels like I said before, he feels that it has value and importance in the community, and he calls it travail de l'esprit, which is, how to say that? Work of the spirit is the literal translation. But he feels that it kind of grounds him in his place in society, and he feels like he can help his own Haitian community with his talent and his own intelligence. And he also says that it helps him understand people around him. And then the second question that I asked was, does he get pleasure from painting? Like, does he have fun while painting? And he says, yeah, whenever he's painting, he tunes everything out, and like people could be talking to him and he would just not respond because he is so focused, he's so in tune with his own paintings, and he really loves to do it. So the question was, what is your daily routine? And then I asked him, for example, what did he do today? So he says,
OK, jeudi a moi t'ai fait récupération totale capitale.
Today he got a lot of things done. He went through his workshop and he was looking at the paintings that he's currently working on right now. And he was saying that for him, the paintings are like a work of the spirit and that they're living. So they're always being changed. They're never, you start them and it's finished. For him, it's always a work in progress. So until he calls it réalisation parfaite, which is a perfect realization. Um, so he said he looked at all of his paintings and, you know, today, like yesterday, for example, if he saw a color that he liked, today it could have changed. So he did that to like 3 of his paintings today. So I asked him if he felt like he reached that perfect realization point of any of his paintings today.
Nou gen problem enerji en Haiti, ça fait un.
Okay. And he said he didn't get to where he wanted to because of the hurricane. So there's not really a lot of energy or a lot of electricity for him to use. And so right now he said he was taking the time to like just look through his paintings and I guess like make a mental note of what he wants to do when he can. So he says the work of an artist is never finished and that it's like a child that's growing. You're always changing. So he says, I asked, the question was, when did you start your school?
Moi, j'ai commencé l'école moi à l'âge de 3 ans.
He said that he told me that he discovered his talent after he sold a painting for $20 from a visitor who had encouraged him to do more work. So he said if he had went to school, he doesn't think he would have focused more on his painting. So because his art is his life. Okay, so the question was, how is his studio going? How many students does he have now? And how is, his whole teaching experience been going?
Moi gagné 5 promotions que moi fait.
And he says right now he has about 32 students and he's been finding a lot of success. Some kids come in and they're interested in the painting. Some just come by, just to have fun in the moment. But it's not really something that they're interested in. But he wanted to thank Vassar and he wanted to thank Lila and let you know that they've had a lot of success because 3 of his students actually got a chance to go to Port-au-Prince to learn about, art theory and take it more seriously. And they passed their exams. So right now they're in Port-au-Prince and they're learning. So he's very thankful to Vassar and he's very thankful for that opportunity, for the space that they have right now. And he also wanted me to tell you that they are moving, that they have plans to move to a bigger space where they can reach more students so that, the work can grow. So yeah.
Lori, I have a question too.
Sure.
I was wondering if you could ask what the ages of his students are, like what the ranges are.
Oui, moi gen qui élève qui allé dans examen qui gen l'âge.
So he says that the ones that are in Port-au-Prince right now are about 23, 24. And most of his students that he has right now are about 14, in the range of 14 through 19. But he says he also has experience teaching those that are older than him because he has some that are, because he's 23 or 24 right now. So he has some 26-year-olds, 27-year-olds that he's working with. So yeah, that's pretty much the range. He says that the question was, what is his biggest challenge right now?
Ok, difficulté pa moi. Encore li la konnen li. C'est côté moi ya yo mande pour moi remettre espace ça.
And right now he says the place that he's renting for the studio, they're asking for the space back right now. And there's a pandemic, the hurricanes are happening right now, and there's still, political unrest. So he feels like when they have their new place, he'll feel more secure and more at peace to do what he always wanted to do, which was just paint and to teach students how to paint. And right now he says they need some money to start construction, and then construction of the new studio in their own. They're already looking at their own like land. They already have somewhere in mind. He says whenever that is all done, he feels like he'll be more at peace. So, and then I said, and then I asked, so then when you're more at peace, you'll be able to leave and go to Port-au-Prince and be more, and go to school in Port-au-Prince. He'd be like, and he said, yeah, he can leave for like weeks and maybe even months if he wants to. Okay. So the question was,
Yes.
what do you usually paint about, and how do you decide that?
Moi ap travay, moi pa jam konnen ki sa m'pral fè.
So he says usually when he's working and he knows like he sits down and he knows he's about to paint, he never has like an idea in his mind about what exactly he wants to paint. He just, gets his pencil and his paint ready, and he just feels inspired by whatever's going through his head at the moment, and he just starts painting. And he says he feels like he hears a voice telling him to do this instead or do that instead. And with how he goes about deciding what to paint, he says that he thinks about the importance of colors and the significance they have in different people's lives. And he also thinks about what a society needs life, when they're searching for hope, especially in the midst of suffering. What message does he want to portray to, kind of give them more hope or lift them out of their spirits? And he also thinks about how to portray happiness or suffering, what colors and what styles give that message when someone's looking at his painting. So that's what he thinks about. Also agree. So the question was, do you have any goals or dreams for the future?
Ok, rêve mwen, c'est soti yon artiste qui là pour aider zone côté moi-même à vivre avec pays ou du moins tout le monde là en général, parce que les moi fait peinture, c'est pas seul pays d'Haïti qui voit lui, parce que
And he said that he wants to have his own gallery one day, and he doesn't want to drop that or let go of his dream of having the gallery, because he wants to be able to showcase the talent of not just himself but the kids in the area that he's living, because he sees the talent himself firsthand and he works with it firsthand. So he wants to do art shows where they can travel and showcase and have classes to help more Haitian kids. And he feels like it doesn't only help him, but it also helps other people in his area, because some of the kids that he works with don't have parents. So he does everything he can. He does everything that he can to provide like paintbrushes, paint, and canvases so that they can work as much as they can. And he also talked about helping, or how should I say this? He also talked about how there's not really a strong educational structure in Haiti, and so a lot of kids are just not really doing anything. So that then when you have a lot of kids who are not really they're not going to school, or they're not really working or doing anything, it kind of creates let me see if I got that.
Like vagabonds.
Like I guess the translation would be like gangsters, or like I'll just say troublemakers. So yeah, he says he wants to help and teach as many kids as he can to put them on the right path, so that they can have something good to look forward to in their life, and that they can see a plan for their future. That's basically the gist of what he said.
I bet you can now see why we're such a huge fan of Benoit and all of his students. I'm happy to introduce next Lila Mead, who spoke with one of our favorite gallery owners in Port-au-Prince, along with two of this year's student co-presidents. Enjoy.
Hello, I am so happy to be with you. My name is Lila Mead. I'm one of the co-founders of the Vassar Haiti Project. And today I have the privilege of working with two student presidents of the project, Catherine Wu and Sonia Guller-Carey. And we are going to be interviewing Sharona el-Saieh, director of the el-Saieh Gallery in Port-au-Prince, Haiti. And the Vassar Haiti Project has worked with this wonderful gallery who represents so many artists since 2001. And right now, before I talk any further, let me just introduce Sharona. She will tell you all about who she is and what her vision for Haiti and its art are. So Sharona, can you please give me or give all of us a brief history about the el-Saieh Gallery, how it started, and what was the purpose or motivation or inspiration?
Yes, okay. The gallery was founded by my father-in-law, el-Saieh, in the 50s. It started as a store downtown, but then it moved to this beautiful house that you guys all know, which was a family home of the family. But when they left, during the Duvalier period, François Duvalier, Issa took the house and turned it into a gallery. My father-in-law was a musician, had an orchestra before the gallery in the 40s. And I have to say something about that because he introduced the jazz sound to Haitian music. He brought jazz musicians from Harlem to play with his band. But that didn't last long. It lasted as long as it did. And then he got into the art. He promoted, he liked primitive and naive art, which is art that is made by artists without formation. Some of them didn't even know how to read and write. He also promoted voodoo, music and art. His contribution to Haitian culture is incredible in terms of music and art. So now, in the past, the gallery knew glorious days, more than what it does now due to the political situation and everything that happened. So we're still here. We're not going anywhere. We feel responsible. I mean, we have this treasure and it could have flourished a lot more. It could have been promoted, but you know, we're not giving up. We're here. We're here to stay. I mean, we're not going anywhere. And hopefully the situation will improve. Art will always flourish here. Because I think art, suffering can inspire art, in my opinion. And it's ironic, but what we need really is a way to expose it. And if people cannot come to Haiti, we should try to bring the art to the people, you know?
Yeah, that's one of the things that the Vassar Haiti Project is trying to do to since this year, it's really been a difficult year since students cannot go to Haiti for 2 years right now. So it's just really hard to have people actually understand Haiti and understand the work that we do. And we've also been trying to think of more creative ways to expose, like you said, expose the art of Haiti to more people, and also to better educate people about Haiti through its art. So our next question for you is, we wonder about how many artists do you work with now, and how has that been changing from before and till now, given that the circumstances are, it's always been challenging, but now because of the pandemic, so everything seems to be even harder right now. So could you talk a little about that?
Yes. When I started working in the gallery in the 80s, we worked with, I think, about 20 artists. They were regulars. They worked with my father-in-law for a long time. Unfortunately, most of them, we can't work with them anymore because the situation deteriorates slowly. So what you do, you work with the painters and you create a stock, you buy from them. But there comes a point where you can't buy anymore because you have too much and there's no money coming in. So that's it's a sad story, but I work with very few painters. I mean, it's now, since the pandemic, is even less. They call me, we were in touch. I try to not lose touch completely, but right now it's the lowest it has ever been. I mean, the gallery officially has been closed for 2 years, officially, meaning there is no, you can't even pay taxes because there's no money coming in. Do you understand? If I get a phone call and there's somebody, a foreigner who's passing through, or a Haitian who wants to buy, so they call me and I open the gallery for a person to see. But it's, you know, it's sad. But, you know, I'm not discouraged in the sense, I'm discouraged in the sense because it's very difficult for the painters. I always told them, you gotta find another job. You better start painting houses or doing something else, because the times where you were able to survive on selling paintings is gone. And we ourselves, we're supported. I mean, by my son, who is in the States, who is an established artist. He supports us. So, yeah, that's the situation. Sorry.
Sharona, that's okay. Sharona, thank you for painting the real picture of how difficult it is for Haitian artists to be challenged right now. There are no tourists who are going to Haiti, and there aren't people who are coming in and buying in great quantities. But let's backtrack a little bit, okay? In the 1980s, when you said you were supporting 20 artists, is that correct?
I think more or less. I mean,
Yeah,
regular ones that would come, yeah.
Yeah. So, so those artists, are many of them still alive?
Some of them died, like Lafay. You remember Lafay, Hastil. A few of them died. But yeah, some of them, yeah, they're still alive, as far as I know.
Yes. So the way the Vassar Haiti project works is that every time, now we've been working together for what, 20 years? Is that right? 20
Yes.
years. When we buy a painting from, let's say, Lafay or Adderson, Joseph Adderson, or Valmador, Valestin, some of our favorite artists. Louisius, some of our favorite artists from your gallery. Every time we sell one, we turn around and we buy one from him. Of course, we don't do it one at a time. We buy 20 or 30 or 40 paintings at a time. We've tried to be consistent. we are very much aware of what sells, and so many of your artists are the favorites of our customers. We have a website online where people can go to our website and choose a painting that they like, and students like Catherine and Sonia probably dream about that website when they go to sleep because they're always working on it, updating. There's so many particulars to how to make it successful and user friendly to the consumer. But how has the Vassar Haiti project influenced or affected the growth of your gallery in past years before the pandemic?
Honey, that's a good question because Vassar sustained us for a few years. You were one of the, first of all, Vassar is, I think, the last client that buys from us. The rest, all the galleries, you know, we work with galleries all over in the States, the Caribbean, Europe. One by one, they closed, you know, and especially with the crash 2008, all the galleries went online. And online, it's a different business. A client asks you something and they call me, do you have any, send some pictures, and they buy one painting, you know, which is better than nothing, of course. But no, Vassar, you sustained us for many years, Lila. Seriously. We counted on you. Even if you bought once a year, twice a year, that was like an infusion of blood. Seriously, that's the truth.
That's so
Thank
wonderful
you.
to hear. I am going to now pass the baton to Sonia. Please, please add to this conversation.
Yes, I'm very excited to be here. And one of the questions that I've been wondering about is how have you seen the art scene kind of evolve since your family established the gallery? Because I know you've been in the business for quite a while now. And so we're curious to see or to understand more about how the art itself has developed.
Yes. You have, you know, what you call the contemporary. You have a movement that is called, it's from the Grand Rue, from downtown, Port-au-Prince. It's, my son loves them. I was in the beginning, it took me time to, I'm more old-fashioned, and especially my father-in-law's style was also primitive naive. It wasn't that style at all. But that's it. That's what it means to evolve and to develop. So they have been all over the place, outside of Haiti, in all kinds of, they have been in the Biennale, the Venice Biennale, even. They had a show in New York. They called Artistes Résistants, and it's a lot of sculpture, some voodoo in it. I'm not an expert to talk about it, but this is definitely evolving, and voodoo flags have reached a point also with last year in Miami. Oh God, I'm getting senior moments when I forget the word, so bear with me. At the Fahina, there's this I'm sorry, it's gonna be funny, you're gonna have to edit. I'm looking for the name of this art show in December in Miami that is every year. What's it called again? Art Basel. It came to me. Okay. This is the biggest art fair of the year in the United States. And there was a show in the Faina Hotel Miami Beach of Mirlan Constant, which is a voodoo flag artist. And it was spectacular. So she's also rising, and you have young artists. There's a lot of potential, a lot of potential. Now with Instagram and stuff, they do it. They just put pictures. My son supports them. I mean, he buys My son, apart from being an artist, is also a patron in a sense. So yes, there is a movement. There was a time we didn't see much, but definitely you see it now. For example, in Cape Haitian was a center one time in the past of art. There is nothing much coming out of there now. Hopefully it will come, but it's alive. It's alive. And if we had more exposure, it would have encouraged more artists to, to evolve and develop. But I think that probably you have a lot of artists that decide to drop it because they can't. You have to have it as a second job. You have to have it as a passion, as something that you have to do beside a job that will feed you and your kids or family or whatever, whoever you support. Do you understand? Because, yeah. But it's definitely alive in Kiki. Just need to promote it, to take it out, that's all.
Okay, well, we're working hard at that.
I know, honey, we all are.
We have some special things coming up, which we'll talk about later. But I just wanted to say that I remember when we came to your gallery a few years ago, and we met Valmador, and he was painting in your back area in a studio. And I personally love his works, and he has so many different genres. Can you describe your personal influence in directing him and other artists, and what have you done to support them over the years? Lafay and Luisius, we've met all of these wonderful artists in your gallery, and you obviously have had an influence on them, directing them more towards, what might be more appealing. So please talk about that a little bit.
Valmador, his older brother, Jacques, was the painter, and in that time, he passed away. Also, the sister, Josie, who used to, Antoinette. You remember Antoinette? Antoinette worked for my father-in-law. She was the cook, she was the caretaker of my father-in-law. And like a lot of people working at the gallery, you're surrounded and they're inspired to paint. So they did, but Franzi didn't then. But then he decided he was inspired. I showed him paintings of another senior moment coming. You guys, this is crazy. Blanchard. Sisson Blanchard, you know him, right?
Yes.
He's all over the gallery, you've seen him.
Yeah.
And he was inspired by this style. Because Blanchard also does all these animals, a lot of animals, fills it up. Right. Now about your question, how we support the artist, the way for us to support the artist is by art. That's it. By art. Maybe, I don't know. For example, give you another example. When Maxo followed a style of Gabriela Lix. Okay, that style is done by several artists. There's another one that Monet works with. The name, okay, I know the name, but doesn't matter.
Coutard.
So, yes, Coutard. There's others. So when Maxo, I don't know what happened to Maxo. He left to the United States. He's somewhere, don't know where.
He's in France.
He's in France. Okay. And I don't know if he paints, he should paint, but anyway. So now I introduced Ali to this style. And I asked Ali, can you please do this style for me? Because this style is adorable. People love it and they sell it and they buy it. And the thing with the art, there's this selling part that some artists, they don't want to deal with it because I am an artist, I want to do what I feel like. Well, honey, very few get to that point. Very, very few. The competition is enormous. I mean, everybody is an artist. Everybody can be an artist, I believe. It's there. It's there. I do believe, but maybe you don't want to be an artist. Maybe you're an artist in another way. But I'm saying that if you decide that you want to survive, you have to take into consideration the selling part. I mean, hey, so you have to do things that people like. So if you do a painting people like, okay, so give it to them. What is it? This thing with the pride, it's a conflict. But as a gallery, we need to sell. In order for me to buy, I need to sell. Very simple. It's a very simple math. So yes, we encourage them to do things that we sell. For example, Adelson gave me many times, not many times, every now and then, gave me a different style, and I would show it to you. And you would purchase it, but it would take you forever to sell, while the other song that you get, you sell like hotcakes. So when he does feel like wanting to do something new, I can understand. I will take it from him, but I will not encourage him to do a lot more because I'll get stuck with it. So that's the other side of the story, that you need to compromise with it. Yes, did I answer the question?
You answered it perfectly. And I know about Ronald Ali. He has so many different genres.
He just has a raw talent. He has a raw talent. Now, in a different situation, he could have been maybe inspired to do his own because he has the talent. He has the skill. He has the skill, right? But what he does is wonderful. People love it. So why not? I don't see any harm. I don't see any harm.
Yeah, we really love his. We just sold one of his paintings. Which one was it, Sonia?
It was one with 2 black panthers and the
There you
green
go.
cactuses in the background. It was beautiful.
There you go. There you go. So we agree on that.
I wanted to show this is Valmador's sister, Antoinette.
Oh my God, that's a beauty. Oh, listen, I have 3 little Antoinette that was left, and I gave it to my kids. I said, this is not going out. It stays in the family.
She's very sweet.
Very sweet.
In our home, Sharona, I want you to know that in our guest room, it is filled with Antoinette's paintings.
Oh my God. And I don't know why she doesn't paint. Yeah. I mean, she doesn't. Women in Haiti don't paint.
Tell her, please.
They don't.
We will tell her we'll buy 5 paintings from her if she starts painting again. Okay, you can do it. Okay, Catherine, would you like to ask the next question?
Yeah. Sharona, when you talked about how women painters, I guess it's actually quite hard to find women painters. Most of the artists that we work with at the Vassar Haiti Project are mostly male, and a lot of the artists that we have saw in Haiti are also male, and I find that a very interesting thing.
It's too bad, but the role of a woman in Haiti is she's in charge of everything, of the family, of doing everything, of cooking and cleaning the kids, the husband. She has very little time to paint. Now, the few women that we had painters, for example, we had the girlfriend of André Nomi. Yes? She was living with him, Louis Saint. You remember her, Louis Saint? His girlfriend. So she lives with an artist. He paints all this. She's inspired. he guides her. She came out with fantastic stuff. Beautiful. I mean, she could have, everything we had of her was sold, and she was getting better and better. But then Nomi got sick, and that was it. She stopped painting, and when he died, that's it. You know, with Antoinette, the same thing. She was in the gallery, so you know, she worked at the gallery. She was inspired, and in her free time, she would do little stuff, you know. But with the death of Esau, with all the turmoil, with the family feud, it was finished. And so it's too bad, because I'm sure you have a lot of potential. There are a few young female artists that are rising, so that's a good thing. Okay, so there's still hope.
I've loved hearing about, Sharona, how you've been encouraging so many artists for so many years now, and you've been such a strong foundation, both the gallery and your personal relationship with a lot of the artists that you're working with. And we really want to acknowledge you for the work that you've been doing and the work that you've been devoting your life to and the difference that you're making. And also hearing about your son, Toma, in Miami, and the art that he's doing. It's been really inspiring. And for me personally, it's been really exciting. Every time we get a box from the gallery, it's so exciting. It's like unwrapping. You never know what you're going to get, and the paintings are beautiful, and we love being able to buy them and look at them and just enjoy them. And so we are really grateful for the work you're doing and hope that you continue. And I guess maybe the final question that I have at least is, you've been involved with the gallery, as you said, for so many years now, and I was wondering, what's your favorite part? So what keeps you going and makes you keep doing what you're doing?
Well, you haven't been to the gallery. When you come visit, you will understand. I mean, I live next to it. All I have to do is go down and walk around these paintings. And I don't want to say born again, but for a split second, it's like, wow. It's a feast for the eyes, you know. And I really like, and I tell you, I think we are connected to everything, including an inanimate. And I kind of tell my paintings, good morning, and you look wonderful. And I feel they feel it too, because I also have a pigeon in the gallery that is nesting on one of the ventilators. And we've had, I don't know how many babies, and which is a benediction, I think. So yeah, it's just, if you come to Haiti, you know, people ask me, I'm not Haitian, I'm Israeli. My Israeli friends sometimes ask me, what are you doing in Haiti? So I said, well, you have to come and see what I'm doing. You know, I don't want to move from here. Okay, I'm in my little bubble, because when I go out, it's different. But listen, that's my answer. My battery is going down. So yeah, I'm just grateful. And you understand, because you like the paintings. It's the same thing for me. When the artists bring me paintings, wow, can't wait to see. Oh yeah, it's like that. And you don't have to be a professor in art history. You know, yeah. It's just the colors and it's almost an emotional thing. Don't need to talk even about it. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. Anyway, enough said.
Thank you so much for sharing, Sharona. I think what you've been saying really brings me back to when I was in Haiti. It's been really a long time away from Haiti because of all this, the pandemic and the political situation in Haiti. So we really have been feeling, a lot of our students in VHP, we have been feeling pretty disconnected with Haiti. But I think you this conversation with you really brought us back to Haiti, and just we could see the art in front of us. And it's like you said, it's art is definitely alive in Haiti. It's just a matter of bringing in more opportunities to expose them and to promote them. And I think we're definitely going to continue our work here. It's very important, and we just love working with you. And thank you so much for
I
being
love
here.
working with you guys. You guys are the best, my best client, my best, seriously.
Thank you so much.